Present.
Keith Ritchie. Gee, good, I don't think it's necessary to say.
Present.
You're right.
Hey, present.
Is there on there?
Are you present or you pastor?
She's waving to us. Okay, she's present.
Present teacher.
Okay, very good. I'd like us to, is there a motion to approve the minutes from our September 18th meeting?
I move we do.
All right, proposer, seconder is Doug. All those in favor?
I abstained because I wasn't here.
Okay,
And that's
Right.
That's not what it is.
okay, so 2 abstentions. Anybody else in favor? Anybody against? So carries. Great, and welcome, Jason, back to our
Yeah.
committee to give us an update on the your
Yeah.
Eagle Scout project.
Yes, I visited in March when I presented my Cornhole Eagle Scout project. My name is Jason Generalis, just for those who didn't remember. This project took course over these long 6 months almost. And now the cornhole boards are fully installed in Mead Park with the stone dust area around it just as planned. I don't know if you guys have gotten a chance to check it out, but
Yeah, it was great.
It's great,
Yeah.
yeah, it's off this, yes. good, yeah.
hopefully you guys had fun there. I have a presentation just with some images of how we created all the cornhole boards. I just wanted to thank
Okay.
everyone for helping out. And it was great. So you could go. Next slide if you.
Is that a video you got there?
So I think it's PowerPoint.
Yeah, it's just a little slideshow. So during quarantine, we have a lot of hobbies picked up. Me and my dad built a family set of cornhole boards. These are Jason, Justin, and Joey. Those are my brothers' names. They're both in college, but I decided to take inspiration off that. I really like cornhole because our whole family got into it during quarantine. So I decided it would be great to kind of share a new game experience with the town. So that's how the project kind of came to be. And then here is our first work day. We pulled both cars out of the garage, transformed it totally with a ton of paint tarps and everything. And this was after we got all the supplies. We had a ton of 2x4s and everything in the garage. We had a lot of volunteers. We had 200 hours on the project in total.
Wow.
For everyone that participated, it was a lot of help from the town, from the scouts, from my mom and dad. It was just great all around. I'm super excited that we got it done, that there wasn't any delays. Here we have just some more pictures of us building, just kind of like the process we went through. We just built the 2x4 frames. We primed and waterproof glued the edges of the plywood just to make sure they last as long as possible in the weather conditions. Obviously you don't want them to break after a year. We're hoping that they could last for a solid 5-7 years, and so the town could get a lot of good use out of them. Here we have just more pictures of the boards being painted. This man's name is Mr. Pagano. He's a carpenter, and he helped me out drill the holes in the center of the boards just with an easy drill saw. So that was very helpful. I mean, here you can see we had a lot of projects, a lot of scouts painting the cornhole boards there. The design, we just went with a arrow to the hole, red and black, New Canaan themed. And the next slide. Just some more images. The painting, we wanted to make sure it was super sharp. We had something like 20 hours of touch up just to make sure that everything was good for the town. We wanted it to look professional. I mean, you can see on the next slide, we bought logos from 84, and they laser cut them out, and then we filled them in with the paintbrush, just to make sure they're clean. And here's the boxes. So the boxes, it has a hinge. It doesn't open 90 degrees, so it can close, so no one leaves it open, and it collects water. And it has a latch just so you don't have like a ton of people just kind of putting wear and tear on like the hinges and stuff. And then just the next slide, you can see here we have all the boards ready, but unfortunately, I don't know if you guys remember, it was like 6.5 inches of rain. We had all the stone dust moved in, and it delayed the installation by about a week. But luckily, and you can see in the next slide, we recovered smoothly about a week later. Brian and Todd were super helpful with getting everything installed, getting the roller out to make sure that it was all smooth and flat. We had a ton of scouts. I think it was 14 scouts all in Mead Park showing, raking, making sure the project.
What do you
well.
call Nancy Greenspan's husband? How do you call Nancy Greenspan's husband?
And then you,
You're not muted, Mom.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Who is that?
it's.
Betty.
Ross.
Okay.
She,
Thanks, John.
And then the last slide is just the fully completed project. I mean, some of you said that you went to see it. There's some images here. There's even some people like, it was something like 15 minutes after we installed it, some families went over to play on it. I was super glad that people were enjoying it. I went back the next day with my grandpa. So we played a game and it was, I just hope that the town could get a lot of use out of it, that it's gonna be a lot of fun. And lastly, I just wanna thank every one of you for approving, for helping, like Mr. Howe has been fantastic with everything that he's done. Brian and Todd are super helpful. I just wanna thank you fully,
Thank you. Thank you to all the volunteers too. Please express our appreciation.
yeah, I will.
That's great.
We have a meeting tomorrow, so I'll make sure that.
Oh, yeah, please express our appreciation for all the hard work. So that they're installed now, will they be removed during the off season?
I think over the winter, we should.
Yeah,
remove
winter.
these stores.
Yeah, say,
And he actually even gave us some spare boards.
oh,
So
wow.
don't come looking for us on Thursday afternoons. We got our own little thing going on.
Yeah,
I
yeah.
love the boxes. and-
I do too. Very creative.
It's really nice to have everything right there.
Thank you, yeah.
Good job.
So we have 2 spare boards just in case any of them break. We also have 2 spare sets of bean bags. Which is good. I wanna make sure they last,
Right.
but.
Well done.
Well done. Thank you. Thanks again. Thank you for coming, Mom and Dad. Thank you. Have you gotten your Eagle Scout yet?
I am not. I'm submitting the write-up and I expect to get it somewhere in like January, February.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Maybe there could be a good photo op when you do get it in front of all of us, the
Perfect,
project,
yeah,
you know?
yeah.
We could, you can come to one of our January, February meetings, I'm sure. This is a very handsome group.
Yeah, that would be great. Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
absolutely. Okay.
Thank you all.
Thank you. Guys, thanks for coming. Great. That's wonderful, absolutely wonderful. Okay, next on the agenda is the proposal for the Exchange Club on a revenue share for the 4th of July. John, if you could just update on that, because we didn't have enough of a quorum the last time, so.
Yes. So over many, many years, the Exchange Club has sold the ice cream and water and soda at the 4th of July fireworks. There was an unofficial agreement that the profits would be split 50-50 between the rec department and the Exchange Club. So a few years ago, when I first took over, I didn't have the right paperwork to allow them to get paid. The finance department said they couldn't. So the simple answer was the Exchange Club will get all the profits the next year. So that was in 2022 that we couldn't pay. 2023, we had a major problem. We had mass melting of ice cream. We had the freezer go down. And so there were no profits. So in 2024, our intention was to give the Exchange Club the full thing. The finance department said, you need approval from your commission in order to make an agreement like this. So what I'd like to do is have a motion that the 2024 ice cream soda water sales profits, the whole thing is given to the Exchange Club for this last year's fireworks. And then the second motion would be that in the future years, that if the profits could go and be separated 50-50. So,
Do we have a motion? Eugene, thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Francesca, thank you. For the record, Keith and I, since we're members of the Exchange Club, cannot vote on this.
Okay.
So, is there a motion to approve? There's a
motion to approve.
there's a motion.
Second, yeah.
Yeah, we already seconded. Okay.
just,
Second.
you should check with
Oh.
Susan. Just-
Right.
Oh, here you go.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, all those in favor?
She raised her hand.
Right.
Here's that. Good.
Opposed? So carries. Thanks, John.
Thank you.
Well, all the Exchange Club guys will be delighted, but it's a great partnership that we have there, and I think it works well, and the freezers work beautifully this year. Oh, we loved it,
What a change that was.
yeah.
So
Yeah,
really cold frozen ice cream. It was pleasant, as it should be.
As it should be, right?
Yeah, we sold
Like fine milk.
Yeah, we sold everything, right? I
Right.
mean.
We did have some ice cream left over, but we sold all
we
the,
did?
yeah, all the popsicles went.
I thought I hated it.
Yeah.
I probably
Melanie,
selling
how are
five.
you? So Melanie missed the vote, but it still carries,
Yeah.
yes, on the,
On the vote,
on the profit sharing, yeah.
did they say he's present?
You, can you just say for your present, the roll call?
Melanie Kern,
Thank you.
I apologize.
That's all right, okay. You got three little ones, we understand. So, next we will move on to the yearly update on the parks. I'd like to start with Jake and Doug with Irwin.
Yeah. Okay, I put some pictures in the packet tonight, thanks to Fee and her copy worthy efforts. I first want to say that, before I started kind of doing this, I had no idea how much Irwin Park is used. I mean, it's crazy. Anytime you go there, I don't even care if it's raining, there's still people that are walking on the flexi pave. There's still people that are milling around the area. There's so many young people, so many young families. It's just really great to see that it's really become part of our community in such a big way. But you know, as I walk the property, as I do quite often, there are a few things that I just wanted to point out. The first one is the flexi pave on the southeast of the property. That's the moss that I've been talking about in the last couple of meetings. I know, you know, Todd and the guys are trying to mitigate that with some stuff that we came up with. And it's gonna be a long process, but in the areas that they've done it, it actually looks quite good. So if we can keep that going, I think it'll be really, you know, a real good addition to keeping the trail in good shape.
What are they doing? Is it power washing?
No, it's an application of stuff that we've got called moss off. And then you can't brush it, so it really has to just kind of be applied and hopefully it kind of goes away.
And it's not chemical?
Yeah, yes, it is. It's a
It is
pesticide. Yep.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
The another thing that I wanted to point out was the great job they did on the roof. The last time that I reported, they were fixing the inside of the barn on Irwin property. And that was all, you know, to help out the fact that we were gonna put a new roof on it. So that's a picture of the new roof, and as you can see, it's pretty complicated as far as what they had to do, and it looks great. As I walked around the property, there's a bunch of areas that I think that we kind of have to look at and assess and see what we want to do with. This is the wall that's in front of the main building. It's obviously falling down. It's kind of an eyesore with all the people that walk by there. I don't know, we just should think about a plan
Like
eventually.
in front of, Doug, do you mean,
The building,
drive
the
side?
main building.
Yes,
With
but the
parking
driveway
area.
side.
Yes, the driveway side.
Where's,
And then the second picture is a picture in front of the Gorse Pavilion, right before you get to the door.
Yeah.
So these are things that I think that, you know, I don't know how complicated it will be to address these. But I think we should at least, you know, be mindful that these things are occurring on the property.
Yeah.
The back porch of the building, you know, we've discussed it before. It's really, there's rotting wood, there's, you know, really rusting metal pieces, things like that. Again, I think it's just, you know, it's not something that I think has to be done tomorrow, but it's got to be looked at eventually. And then in the front, there's, you know, a few windows that have rot on the bottom, and obviously the paint's coming through as well. So, you know, again, just, I think we should think about what a long-term plan for that building, because it's definitely declining.
Well, let's stay with that. I mean, does the town yet have a plan for that building?
So for usage, no,
Yeah.
they're evaluating it, so.
Yeah, because I mean, you know, I remember speaking with Kevin Moynihan back when he was the first selectman, and he wasn't certain whether they should just rip the whole thing down eventually.
That is still on the table.
Yeah,
Right now, Buchanan Cares and CERT are both in the building.
yeah. To me, I.
And the town's IT department.
They're, yes, they are, but they're in the little garage.
Little garage,
next door. Yeah.
To me, I think you could hire a bunch of, even not the greatest painters and, and just fix up guys. And just send them at it and just go after everything, sand it down, paint, rusty metal, you can do a certain paint, which will stop the rust, and then you paint over that and.
There is some money in the budget, in the building maintenance budget, to do some work on the building. They're reevaluating the roof. They've had the same, contractor that came in to evaluate Lapham and Wait for water intrusion. They had them go up there too. I don't know if they've completed the study yet or not, but.
Yeah, we gotta start with the roof, but I mean, it's just disappointing that we're just not maintaining this place, which is really, was a showplace in its day. And to me, if they had just maintained it, it really wouldn't take that much money to maintain it, but they've let it go so much.
Yes.
I agree with Keith. I wanted to say, isn't there a building commission? Didn't we have a group of people that were listing all the buildings that were,
Oh, yeah. Yeah,
and what are they saying about it? Maybe we should go to
They-
them
I
and,
thought they mostly were just doing an inventory of the buildings and identifying them and.
I thought they were identifying issues with them, but
Yeah,
maybe
but,
I'm wrong.
but then they didn't do, they didn't do anything with that list. As far as I know.
Maybe they decided bigger plans should be decided before they put the money into it.
Yeah,
But coming back to that, I don't think the town ordinances allow us to hire some cheap guys who can just kind of knock it out. They have to go through a bidding process, and they probably have to be standard wages kind of a thing.
yeah, no, that's fair. Yeah.
And that's make it more expensive.
And just an idea, I'm not sure if this was ever explored. But in Argentina, where I'm originally from, there used to be some sort of partnership between, public commissions and private organizations, like I've already heard about newcomers and you can invest in home tours and you have decorators and people that get together. So in Argentina, they would take this old rundown, but beautiful architectural houses. And, just people would come together and, they would fix a building and then open it to the public. Charge some money for ticket, that would, some would go, and it would go to charity and to good organizations in town, but there's a lot of initiatives, and I wonder if you've ever explored some sort of collaboration with organizations that we potentially could throw that idea, especially as some people are very interested in the beautification of our town and everything that has to do with showcasing the wonderful architecture.
It actually doesn't fall under me. It falls under buildings, but, and I'll be glad to mention it to them.
Yeah.
I know at one point in time, they were looking at putting a museum in there, an IBM museum, because there was a connection
Yeah,
between the properties.
yeah.
Right, yeah.
So, thanks for a second.
Yeah, I would say we are open to any nonprofit that wants to approach us and do a co-partnership if they want to put some money into the building. And I think we're all ears on that.
Well, isn't the New Canaan Nature Center an example of that? They maintain certain aspects of the whole property.
Exactly.
They don't maintain the buildings.
What, they do the interiors. They want a new bathroom that's ADA compliant. That's on them.
No, it's not. The town's been paying for it.
Well, they're not supposed to. They're supposed to do interior stuff. But anyway, if there are renters there, they could obviously chip in.
Right.
And
Not-for-profit renters.
Sure, because that's the whole intention.
yeah, we can speak with Colleen, Frost, records and then cares and, brainstorm some ideas. It's a
Yeah.
beautiful building. It's worth trying to.
Yeah, I think I love the spirit. I mean, these, and I like Doug, I've walked around this property extensively. It needs a lot of work. Okay, this is a 6-7 figure job, guys. This is not
Oh, yeah.
light,
It's
okay?
not small.
And I think at some point, like the town really has to make this, and we've met with Dion about that and see what we really want to do with this building long term. Yeah, I mean, this is not a coat of paint, unfortunately, so.
Right.
Yeah, but John and I are gonna be with her later this month. We'll re-express our concerns.
Who is it that's the head of the buildings?
The head of the buildings, it falls under Public Works, so Tiger Man, but it's Bill Ostman is.
That's right, Bill.
Yeah.
And also on the last page, I just showed a picture of the proposed site for the raised walkway from the
Yeah.
garden club. And how quickly it can just be taken over. I mean, that was pretty well mowed, 6 months ago. And then the invasive knotweed that's on the side of a bunch of the trails and whatnot. And John had said that he and Tiger met with the garden club about the invasive species that are going on at Irwin Park. And maybe he'll talk a little bit about that, but he also mentioned that the high grass areas are gonna be mowed for the first time in 3 years, so that'll be nice.
Started today.
Okay.
We try to do them every 2 years, and we just couldn't with weather and the other priorities last year, so we started to, we started to fall. The one thing, if you'll notice, is we're not cutting the knotweed, the invasive knotweed that is in your pictures. Because we'll just spread it. Right. Spread this, unfortunately, spread the
We need
seeds.
to
at
go
the end of-
again.
And so, when we're done, it's not gonna look like the greatest job in the world, unfortunately. The guys are gonna do well, but.
Yeah.
You can see some spots that aren't touched.
But that's it for me. Jake, anything?
No, I mean, you hit everything on the head there. I walk it pretty regularly with my dog. Seem great. I mean, I think everything that we talked about, obviously it needs some addressing, but other than that, the park is in great shape. It's very, very busy. It looks really great. I can see a bobcat there the other day. Yeah,
Oh, wow.
I like that.
yeah. But no, I noticed that I was there today, saw the guy mowing, so yeah, everything looks good.
The flexi pave has been lasting really well, right? I mean, except for when they burned it.
Yeah, but, well, the only problem is we have moss and we have some weeds growing in it. So
Okay, so
it's like anything, it's not perfect, but it's a really nice surface to walk on. So,
Does the moss
Yeah.
make it slippery?
yes,
It can.
especially on the, as you're going up the hill in the shade, which never sees any sun.
Right.
It could be wet in the morning, so.
Doug, is there an ETA for the, raised walkway?
Well, they're still raising money. So we haven't heard from the garden club one way or the other,
So we don't know.
as far as where they are.
Okay.
So the fact that it's overgrown now is, I mean, it was just, he
We,
staked it out.
we mowed it so they could stake it out to design it, they needed elevations and everything, but since it goes through wetlands, we can't routinely mow it. That's why they were making a raised walkway.
Right.
So that's why it's back to being natural, so to speak,
And those are cheap. Yeah, John, the garden club has a board there next summer, right?
the next June.
Next year, yeah.
June.
Yeah. And they're on our slate for yearly updates, but we can always ask them to come in if we want them to.
Yes.
On this, so. Thank you, appreciate it, good job. Next is Wavening with Susan and Tim.
Yeah, I'll take it. Susan can't be here in person, but to thank Susan for leading the meeting with John and the three of us met, but Sue led the way with organizing, so thank you. So I'm reading mostly Susan's notes, which we discussed, but Sue, feel free to jump in just as you'd like. So within Waveney, we do also yearly updates on Banco Pool and Waveney House, so we're gonna skip those major parts of it, and we're just gonna do kind of the highlights of what's going on right now throughout the park. Cottrell Field, that's the artificial turf project for the boys varsity baseball field. Construction for that is underway. The goal is to be completed in spring of 2025 for the baseball season. That project, as most of you know, is supported by the Athletic Foundation and the town, as well as McCain Baseball. And it's got turf, dugouts, batting cages, and it will be fenced. I know Mike Benedetto addressed the idea of having blend in to the park in general, but that's been covered. So as far as right now, the Copperfield project is underway and hopefully on track for completion next spring. The playground, the adult fitness area, that's the first portion of the Waveney Playground project. The playground itself to be completed, hopefully within the year, but the adult fitness center portion, the equipment is in place. Most of you probably seen both the existing equipment and then the new equipment.
Yeah.
That's in, the surface is near completion. John Ryan, I don't know if that's now done as of now, or if it was but
that picture is as of today.
that's.
And they're actually putting down the surface, the poured in place surface tomorrow.
Oh,
So
great.
change, right?
Yeah, it looks a lot different than it did like 40 hours ago.
Yes.
Oh, I didn't even see it when I was done. That's great. So this is funded by the town, the adult fitness portion, the children's play area. They're undergoing fundraising to be able to raise the budget, so that the playground itself, can be completed over next year. So the fundraising for that is hopefully in kickoff phase soon. Then going to the benchmarks sculpture benches, you may remember, I know initially two that we ordered or approved of, I think, last year. And this is done through the Conservancy, right? So 2 have been installed, a third is in transit now from Broad, is it? And okay, and the benches they're fully funded and really handled by the Conservancy, I'm sure, with the coordination with the Parks Department. Right. All right, so jogging and walking trails, one of the recent storms damaged some of the trails. Those repairs are being scheduled currently. Give me a separate update on that, John, but that was one of the items that we talked about.
Yeah. There was some damage in 7-8 inches of rain. Contractor has been chosen. It's just a matter of scheduling, getting in here to do it. We're hoping to see him next week, early next week, to get some of it done.
Okay. The west parking lot of Waveney House, we talked about, Tiger spoke about that at like maybe 3 meetings ago. That's due to be completed in the summer of 2025, but just reminding where we are on that. That's the town is doing that. Disc golf, which I liaise to, but they're not up for now, but new tees are under construction for the disc golf. That's across the road from here. Tees and disc golf, they're not like golf tees, they're boxes where you start off from and then cross. Flag football in Waveney, that popularity is increasing. My son did it, I know, last year, and now he's doing the modified flag tackle thing for third, fourth graders, but that is a very hot sport. And they've more participants this fall than they did last year. Platform tennis is still popular. A 6th sport is being included in next budget request. Congratulations, like I said.
I'm not that optimistic.
But the press is being included. So pickleball, courts are busy at Mead Park. 4 to 6 lighted courts are being considered for Waveney in the next budget request.
Good stuff. Let's hope.
The same budget request as the,
The
The
whole
paddle.
area will probably be included in one, because there'll also be the picnic area kind of between the two, between the paddle courts and the pickleball courts.
right,
The design hasn't been finalized though, so to share that.
Sounds great.
That's terrific, yeah.
Yeah.
Just when do they, for the fundraising for the playground, how much money have they, does anybody know how much money they've raised and how much they need?
I don't have an exact number as how much they need right now. We're still kind of finalizing equipment, plugging and
Okay.
chugging with that, and then. They have a logo created, they have an Instagram page created, Facebook page created. I know that they've met a couple times, but it's not completely underway. We're still finalizing the master plan and, their plan is to sell some bricks too, for a brick walkway, so a donor walkway similar to Mead Park.
Ballpark, what do you think they're looking to raise ballpark?
Probably like $300,000, I would say, ballpark. That's rough.
Okay.
A lot depends on, playground equipment is very expensive.
Yeah.
And depending on the size of it, that makes the poured in place
Right.
go up. And the square footage of that is
Which
26.
is roughly $26 a square foot, so, that adds up real quick.
So everything,
Sure.
So, I wanna say that Ryan and John have kindly invited me to some of those, Lego meetings. And, it's interesting when you talk about individual equipment, because main purpose of the playground is to be inclusive. That's really what's driving a lot of the cost. So
Okay.
there will be, for example, special equipment for people in a wheelchair,
Mhm.
so they can have some sort of rocking movement. That alone, I don't know if I should share the cost, but that
Right.
was one $70,000, for example.
Right, it increases the square footage.
So, that's why I think it's a lot of work in trying to find the appropriate combination of equipment within the square footage that we have, in the budget that we have. But I think that the whole point is to make it as inclusive as possible, to have a lot of signage. For example, for children that could be colorblind, or even for children who will see some braille. So that's why it's maybe taking a lot of thought, and the point is to get some of the decisions finalized before you fundraise that our target is, or their target is sort of within the final sort of budget that Ryan is helping put together. He's the expert of trying to really optimize all of these variables. Really complex, and I also appreciate that. So thank you for.
Yeah.
Going forward too, I know we have a couple special events such as caffeine and carburetors, and I'm trying to push them to set up a booth over there. That way they can get some donations through that.
Great idea.
Yeah.
Advertise right there, and if there's other special events that you guys know of, feel free to reach out to me via email, and I could pass the message along, so.
Okay, great, thank you.
All right, just two upcoming events in the park, the FCIAC cross country race is October 16th. And then right after that is, Ryan said, caffeine and carburetors is on October 20th. And that's all on the way.
Yeah, excellent report, thank you. Thank you to you both, Sue, I hope you're feeling better.
Thanks, I just didn't want to share.
Well, we really appreciate the great report, thank you. A lot of great things going on.
Thank you, Susan.
And I'll touch base with you real quick after about the playground, the thought I have, okay? Mill Pond?
I just have a question.
Oh, yeah, I'm sorry.
For John, if that's okay.
Okay, yeah.
I got a complaint from a younger member of my family, unfortunately, who said that the platform tennis court was painted at a time when they were going to be supposed to, when there were clinics planned and games planned.
For sure.
And is that good information?
That is actually accurate information.
Oh, okay.
The problem was the contractor, there's one really good contractor in this area for platform tennis maintenance. And they were supposed to be here in August. They didn't make it until just recently. So the option would have been to turn them away and we would have been in that much worse shape. You have to repaint them because you need the grit there.
Yeah.
So that people don't slip and everything,
Right.
and we have to tighten the screens, so. It wouldn't have, for the inconvenience of 2 courts for a week, was much better than not doing any of the work. So,
I was told it was a major issue.
well, if I had her number, I'd tell her it was your fault. No, it's just a matter of we couldn't get the contractor here any further.
Okay.
Okay. Any other questions on the Waveney? Okay, Francesca, Mill Pond.
Mill Pond visited there this Monday. If no news is good news, and I have no news for you tonight, because Mill Pond is really good. In fact, it's great. Everything looks wonderful. All around the pond, the land around the pond looks wonderful. The pond itself looks great. There's just one beer can floating in the pond. And
That's the big news, right?
that is the biggest
That is
headline.
what's gone.
I don't know if it's going. That's the headline. Ducks in the pond, no geese. As I wrote to John, there was a elderly couple, people my age, as an elderly couple who were on a bench at the pond, just getting the morning sun. It's really bucolic. Great job. The pond looks wonderful.
Can I add to that? So I go there and walk around with my dogs, and I agree with everything you just said. But after there was that 8-inch rainfall, and there was the kind of overflow of that dam there, that was a real mess. Someone's come in and they did a great job putting the stones back and leveling that area off. So I just congratulate, I don't know if that's the,
That would have been a contractor, you know,
Yeah.
similar to down at Mead Park, we had a tree come down in that storm that. Like the trails that took out part of the netting and everything, and we've got that contracted to be replaced.
yeah, they really picked it up. But I must say, I did see geese, but I saw the ducks.
Oh, you saw geese? Oh,
Yeah, I saw ducks and geese, and they seem to be there like on each different sides of the pond there. But the ducks are so beautiful.
Yeah.
It's great seeing the ducks there.
Oh, really? Any questions for Hank? Okay, thank you, appreciate it. And then we'll move on to Dixon and Mead with Jake and Melanie.
So, let's start with Dixon. As you will remember, Dixon is a very small park with a very small playground. So there are really no significant changes since we reported on May this year. The playground structure continues to be in good condition and all maintenance is up to date. So moving on to Mead Park, again, the playground structure continues to be very well utilized and all repairs and the regular maintenance have been up to date as well. The cornhole boards and surface, that's already installed. I'm not sure if Jason listened to that update, so you heard from them. And then moving on to the baseball fields, the fields are in good condition. And John just mentioned that the storm brought some damage to the net in the left field of Melwood field. So there's some interim repair that has been made so that the field can continue to be used. But the replacement has been scheduled to be installed soon. All the approvals are in place, so just it's now a matter of waiting for that to be installed. Regarding the irrigation project that we had mentioned in May, the plan continues to be well underway and close to completion. John and his team are waiting. They're still receiving some leads, and they are targeting to have a new system installed during the fall winter timeframe.
Can I ask a question on
Sure,
that?
of course.
Is that going to include water fountains?
No, this is irrigation water, so this is coming from a well. The water fountains will be when they replace the water main going through the park.
What is the update?
And is,
No update on that.
so we don't have a date in the future even for that?
That's a lot of work.
Yeah, it's,
That would be expensive.
All right, thank you.
So, the walk, path behind the turf field, the path to Bristol is, let's see, a path that's been completed. And it, split and run into two separate entrances to Bristol. So all of that walk away, is done and people are enjoying that walk from there.
Two splits to Bristol?
So the,
Yeah.
from the path,
Yeah.
it flips.
You haven't been over there?
And the-
I went for the celebration.
Well, you might have seen it. So there's one that goes up the way it always
Yeah,
has.
the way it always has.
Okay, and then there's one they put in behind the backstop to be level. So that would be ADA compliant, where you can easily push a stroller or someone in a wheelchair when you push in, and then you go into the path that's by the stream bed. And that flexi pave is just great.
Yeah.
Even my dogs like it.
Right,
I keep them from doing the business.
exactly,
Thank you,
exactly, yeah.
Yes, slippery.
Yeah. See,
All right, so we move to rapid sports and I left pickleball to the end because I know there's always a lot of questions. So tennis, the tennis programs continue to be well subscribed in this fall. And, John kindly provided a summary of the membership passes that, for this fall. So, we have the main driver for these passes are residents. There's a small number of non-residents, there. And, there's 15, and just to mention, some of that are senior non-residents that have downscaled, sold their homes, but they continue to have, roots in this community, that come back and play with friends. So it's a small, number, but still, people have tied to our community and if they move out. That the total numbers are, for adults, 150. Passes for youth, 29. Family passes are 95, and seniors 100, in a total of 374 passes for the 8 tennis courts that we present.
Do we have any information on all the tennis lessons? Because I'm down there, like 3 days a week, and there's tons of people taking tennis lessons.
Yeah. So,
I don't know if they get passes to do the tennis lessons or not.
that's sort of the program sign up, so you
Yeah.
go to the website and then you sign up separately. So, we do have some of those numbers as well, I have them right here.
Well, we don't need to go into detail.
Yeah, but we
I guess I'm trying to point out, I think there could be an addition for the 374.
Those are membership numbers, so people that have passes,
Right.
not necessarily the number,
So if
You know,
they're taking lessons,
they
they're
could-
not here, they're not part of this.
well, they could be, they could be. But you're looking at membership numbers, so you go play tennis 12 times. It doesn't show up that you used the courts 12 times, it shows you're one member.
Right, okay, I got you.
So there's a lot of overlap here between
We-
just passes, people that come and play, and people that play and take lessons. And again, we want to make it simple because we're changing the system that John uses. So the numbers for the program signups were hard to compare from the last time we presented them. So I'm probably gonna have for the next time a nice chart where we can have a little more comparison. But the numbers, the programs continue to be very well subscribed. There was a bit of an uptick in the signups for the tennis programs. But again, pickleball continues to be really the main driver of those.
Is
programs.
a membership for tennis, does that include pickleball?
No.
That's
It does not, they're separate. Okay, and paddle tennis,
Separate.
so each is 3 individual memberships.
Correct.
Thanks.
Yeah, and again, to make it even more complex, the family passes, there's 23 family passes that include 95 individuals. And they're, or I'm going to wrong, but you have adults and youth members as well.
Yes.
So there's also a bit of an overlap there. But I think it's a very good indicator of the, the look broadly for the using of the popularity of the age group. We are in pickleball, again, the programs continue to be very popular, very well subscribed. The increase in program sign-up has been mainly driven by pickleball. Regarding the improvement that we spoke about that time, on the parking lot that's close to the court, the attendance shed, and the walkaway, that continues to be in the work. The challenge here is that, on any given day where need parking is at full capacity, parking is a struggle. There's not enough spaces. And again, even though the program's taking place in the nice weather, Public Works is being very thoughtful when they're going to start and here to start and complete that work to avoid any disruption, any major disruption. Regarding sort of the membership summary for Mead Park, pickleball courts, which are 5 in total. We have 168 adult passes, 8 youth passes, 139 family passes, and 105 senior passes, for a total of 420 passes. And it is important to know that at this point, we're not opening the use of the court for non-residents. The pickleball courts are capacity, and again, John has mentioned, and our team, that there's plans to expand infrastructure in Waverly to accommodate all of the interest that the town is getting for this sport.
Can the 5 courts at this point accommodate all of these members?
So far, I think, and again, John can talk more about that.
We don't think so. There's quite a lot of times where people will say, I can't get a reservation. So that's why we're looking 4 to 6 additional courts for up here at Waveney. The other benefit with coming up here, we design them and have lights installed. So there's a couple benefits. We don't have any neighbors so the sound would be an issue. For somebody trying to sit out on their deck, and the fact that we can be open till like 10 o'clock at night, like paddle tennis is.
John, is there any discussion of putting a cap on the number of members who play, in Mead, before anything is done in Waverly?
You mean like limit how many members we have?
Yes.
No, we haven't thought about doing that, because, it depends on when you're around, when you want to get your membership. So, we'd hate to turn somebody away. The hard part is if you can't get there to play. And one of the things we notice is with our guest fees that, one member can bring 3 guests. So that's what worries us about trying to go with any out-of-town memberships. So we want to keep it for the town residents.
What if you make a reservation and don't show up? Was there a fee associated with that?
No.
I think we should.
Then you have to, if you're gonna police it, you have to pay to have someone there.
All the time.
There's
Police.
also difficulty because you can't cancel it, like if there's bad weather, can't cancel it the day of. There's no way to.
There's some problems.
And that's
It's the same with Papa.
protection with the
Right.
reservation system.
Do the no-shows happen a lot? Do
People no shows?
Yeah.
I'm not gonna say a lot. They wanna play, so,
Yeah, the issue, people wanna play, if people don't show up, that court gets filled up by people who don't have a reservation and are walking by.
Yeah.
I go by there, I play in the afternoon, and those courts get used so often.
Yeah.
And I welcome the idea of putting them in Waverly. Even though I don't look forward to hearing the pop, pop, pop when I'm playing that stuff.
Oh, give me a break.
Oh,
Is there any other question, Melanie?
It's
Sure.
about maintenance. So is there like maintenance in terms of flowing that's happening?
Our
On
tennis
pickle.
attendants down on the pickleball courts, the attendant, when he's there, does that.
Does
But
the
also the
blowing.
parks guys do go down there to blow up the courts.
Okay, as regularly as we brush as we.
This time of year, yes, we're down there almost every day, where the
Yeah.
problem lies, so, yeah.
Okay.
I asked about the parking, you said that it's under discussion, and you know that because it's been brought up in here with Tiger before. Is there a plan for the parking by the pickle courts and tennis courts to be done or is that gonna
But,
be with the water main break?
no, he's working on the plan now.
Okay,
We met down there, I don't know, a few weeks ago to discuss some of the different things. We had to incorporate a little bit of work for the irrigation because of the change in the parking lot and things like that. So that's still in the works.
it's still in the works.
Yes.
Is 2025 a possibility or no way?
I don't know what the time frame is, but I think so.
Okay. All right.
So, and part of that's required for handicapped accessibility reasons. So it'll be marked out. So we're not gaining a lot of additional parking spots. But we're making it compliant.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so it's a last note of interest, I've spoken how with introducing our young residents earlier into sport. So, Saks had introduced a new unit of pickleball, but now the Newton High School has introduced a pickleball club. So that's going to add more users. They are deciding whether they're going to use the gym at the high school or Mead Park as well. So again, another reason to.
They can't use
Yeah,
Mead
right.
Park.
It's so important to
Use
me,
their
right?
tennis courts.
So
Yeah.
that's another.
They can use their tennis courts.
It's easy to say, but it's not great. I've done it, it's not great. Have you done it?
Yes.
We have the artificial lines and everything and they kind of.
Well, that's up to John, getting the lines to be able to be in there, but if you have the lines, it's great to play on a tennis court. We were doing it at, because we weren't allowed to play here, we were doing it at, Brookside. What's the name of it? Cherry Lawn Park. All last year, the year before, on those tennis courts.
We try to accommodate any of the high school clubs that need space for their programs. These are town residents. And for the amount that they'll report and the time of day that they will want them, if they need to come to Mead Park, we'll figure out a way to accommodate.
Yeah, but it'd be much better if we just.
We do it for
had more
paddle, too.
questions.
We do it for paddle.
Security.
Any of the high school club programs that need space, we find a place for space.
Jake, no, anything?
Just a little off topic, but the new parking for Bridgeville on 106 came up nice.
Oh, that's.
Yeah, I did,
Yeah.
you did very well, yeah.
That's really nice.
Looks good,
The
absolutely.
sidewalk and all that, yeah, came up great.
The landscaping by the single course is looking really good.
Absolutely. I think the trash situation that we had problems with seemed to be a little bit better.
That was part of what I was gonna talk about before. We put extra money in our overtime budget, in the parks budget. So during the seasons, the two, the spring and the fall sports seasons,
Right.
we have a guy come in early in the morning, like at 4 a.m. And they come in 7 days a week and they're checking the turf fields, dunning for garbage, litter, et cetera, and also going down to Mead Park and doing
Okay.
That's awesome.
basically around the snack bar and the thing, so we don't have to make Gene go down there and pick garbage anymore. We've seen us doing it for a long time.
It
But
shows.
It's helped a lot.
Yeah.
We're very happy how things.
I was approached by a resident asking if there was a reason that Mead Park, and Irwin, didn't really have a lot of garbage cans in general.
Yes, we're carry out.
And I explained, I said, I'm bringing it in, you bring it out.
Yeah, Irwin, the highway department is still willing to pick up the few garbage cans that are there because figured that where they're located is better for everybody.
Yeah.
And since they're out picking up garbage in the center of town.
Yeah, I just want to make sure.
Mead Park, we basically have 2 dumpsters.
Yeah.
And when we say carry out, we still provide them with dumpster locations where they can put it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. Any other questions from Melanie or?
There were some things in the playground that were broken, but maybe, you don't wanna fix them, like the drumstick and the xylophone player.
We
That,
went through and had everything repaired this summer, wasn't it?
it's not there. I was there last week and,
Okay, we'll check it out again, but
okay,
everything we went through the whole thing and everything.
all right. Thanks.
So, we have our playgrounds inspected once a year by an outside company.
Ah,
They gave us a whole list and.
all right.
Appreciate it, Melanie. Thank you very much. That was very
Good job.
Yeah. And last but certainly not least, Kiwanis.
Well, it might be least. John, would you put up our PowerPoints just because there's, I took that photo of the pavilion and it was a bright day. And all of a sudden this photo looks like something on Halloween. Right? Yeah, I mean, I don't know. So just kind of the inventory, this park holds a pond, a playground and a basketball court. It has 6 buildings on the premises with a preschool. There's a lighthouse where I guess we used to have the dog person live. I don't know who lives there now, maybe it'll tell us. There's a pavilion that is capable of having a concession stand and it has restrooms. There's 2 small sheds and the Mary B. Camp. And for most people, their experience at Kiwanis Park is either walking the dog or else having little children use the pond because it's a great place to take little ones because there's no fall.
Also the play in the sand.
Yeah.
Don't go anywhere else.
So what's become huge is this YMCA summer camp. And they had I guess a 2-year lease before their new 3-year lease, which runs from 2024 to 2026. Or maybe, I know the last 2, maybe they had it even before then. But this camp is just great. They had another successful program, 170 campers per session. Great programs, 45 to 50 staff, mostly Canada residents. They did field trips, on-site special events, programs of crafts, archery, nature and team building, sports, and very popular river walks. And each day, all the children in the camp learn how to swim, or they strengthen their swimming and they participate in free swim. So you think that's saving a lot of lives, really, that learning swimming at that early age.
Excuse me just a second. It was my understanding that they couldn't use the pond for several weeks near the beginning of the summer camp.
Well, it's interesting that, they actually got the pond, which I think is in the next slide. Opened the second week of June, which I believe, according to my calendar, was around the 10th, which was actually a week earlier than last year when it opened in.
We were a little late than what we wanted to be. The well went down this spring. We had to have the well replaced, and then it takes a long time to fill the pond back up.
Yeah,
But the wives shouldn't have had any issues with starting on time and swimming on time. I didn't hear that they weren't using it.
right.
Water
But-
quality, we had 0 days this year where our water quality was bad where we couldn't.
Yeah, I was gonna say, but to me, it seemed like, okay, we had a problem with the pump, we had to replace the pump, but we had to refill the water. But then the water was really clean, there was no closures. The people at the YMCA camp raved about the water. It was really great this year, all the time. And they said the beach was spotless, which might be an exaggeration, but it's nice to hear. There was sand raking done that was often. There were a few geese, and they said if geese are around, there were dogs who were there to chase them off.
We hired these chasers.
Yeah, so, and I certainly noticed when I took my dogs over there, there's a lot, almost zero geese poop, where it used to be like a field of poop. So that's great. So, we're always looking for things that are less than perfect. And there's an old basketball court there, which kind of got some cracks and some issues. It's got some old benches. You can see even the photo there, and the second in that slide at the bottom with my dog kind of looking curiously at the benches. But we're told
Thank you,
that
great job.
they're in a capital request. And maybe it'll happen next year or maybe never. Because I've sat on the benches, it's not like they fall over, so they're not structurally unsound at this point, but they can certainly do with a coat of paint. So,
Yes, Betty has told us in the past how Jordan paints them
Yeah.
all the time.
yeah, well, I gotta speak to Jordan and tell him to do it again. Okay. Kiwanis usage, so now I'm on to the third and last chart. The users were like 1,500 people, composed of regular users, day camp, library program, and park and rec camp, but not including the YMCA camp. The permit holder numbers are similar to last year, 680 residents, plus 72 non-residents, for 752. So by the way, that looks pretty good versus either the tennis courts or pickle. So even though we don't think about Kiwanis Park, I mean, that's a lot of people that are using this. I know that there were 505 passes sold in 2022, so that went up to 752, and we've kept the number up this year. So that's really doing great. There's still no food service. So again, we proposed a couple years ago, why don't we get one of those, what I used to call Coke machine, that would have some beverages and some healthy snacks. So if you went there and you had nothing, you could at least, get something to eat and drink.
Yeah.
But I guess that's not so easy to arrange. Maybe John will fill us in during his period. And we also suggested, they mow the path. So you see in the kind of bottom right here, there's a photo of the driveway coming in. They keep coming in, if you come in on your right, they keep that nicely mowed, so you can walk there, but we thought it'd be even nicer if there was some kind of gravel path. They haven't done that, but they have kept it mowed, and it cleaned up a bit than the first time that Francesca and I saw it like 2 years ago. I don't want to complain too much about it, but there's very few people who walk in that way. So it's not that big a deal.
Also, the trees are all alive. When
Yeah.
I entered there were some that were dying, and they're all healthy and looking good. The fence that was around the house that's in there is gone, and it looks so much better just having straight lawn. There was a fence all around that house. Not the Mary D house, the one that's back.
The White House?
The White House.
Yeah. on the
Oh,
back side.
yeah,
Great.
it was falling down.
Yeah. there's
I'm
all
so
those
glad
chain
that's
link fence or
gone.
something like
I mean,
that.
what an eyesore it was.
It was more there when there was a tenant there to separate their place.
It looks terrific.
Yeah.
So, whatever you're doing, it looks great now.
Yeah, so John, you know, I preempt you, but, do you want to talk a little bit about trying to get a Coke machine over there?
Yeah, we just didn't make it, any part of it. So.
I think it would be, helpful to have one.
I tell you, I
Did
just
you
want to
say
go on one of these websites and buy one and just bring it over there, plug it in and start making money.
Are there any other questions for Keith French? Jessica?
Yeah.
Right, Jessica, the 505 Kiwanis passes, those are completely separate from Banco pool passes.
A Banco pool pass allows you into Kiwanis, but not the other way around.
This question is, does the 505, are those including people who come using the pool pass or?
Oh, that's a
I'll
good
leave that
question.
to you.
That's people that use the park. I don't, you know, on Keith's slide, it's 680 residents plus 72 non-residents. I'm not positive. I think I'm gonna take the other way and just say, I'm not sure. Offhand, I can find out for you.
Any other questions?
How about a late question on flag football? I know Steve was running the program. It's becoming very popular, and I think it's now gonna be an Olympic sport. So given the popularity, it goes up to 9th grade. Are there any plans to continue offering for 10, 11, further?
Our biggest problem right now is field space. I know it sounds ridiculous,
No.
but competing with all the other sports. You know, to get all the games in on the weekend, we don't have any more turf space to do it. So that's our biggest concern right now. We did expand with more players this year. But
Do you think?
Where do you play currently?
Well,
they practice at different places, but they predominantly play on the turf fields. So it's Saturday morning.
Is it easy to get parent coaches? I know it's one by veteran, is that a challenge or is it like?
No, not necessarily.
It's a challenge.
It's a challenge,
Okay.
and referees and everything else is a challenge.
But I was gonna say 10th through 12th grade, typically students roll into refereeing, which is a great opportunity, and then they're still involved with the sport, and they're getting paid. Fabulous. So that's something, in terms of those kids still then sort of like play around and, while they're there. Not organized game, but.
There's a big popular challenge too with, there's an age group that moves right out of tackle football as opposed to flag.
Right.
And they look forward to tackle football and all that comes with, so we'll see what the growth brings, but, you know, there's no one out there scouting for flag football for college yet, so.
Yeah.
So we'll have to see what the growth brings, surely, but it is popular for sure.
No questions? We'll move on to John's report.
Okay, I'm gonna start in a different place. I'm gonna talk about Lapham, because it does fall underneath us. So they've opened up the appointments for the Medicaid consultation, because after all, last year they saved residents in New Canaan over $1 million. So, and they just opened it up and a quarter of the appointments are already filled, so that's good. They've also been very busy, you know, there's some programs have waiting lists and people are turned away, so it's going very well here. Weddings, we've gone through, almost every, weekend in September, we had a wedding or an event, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, so 3 a week. Which is very good. And then when you look out into next year, that continues into October already.
Really?
Wow.
October's almost completely booked up.
This is at Lapham?
No, I'm sorry. Waveney House and
Waveney
Weddings,
House.
yeah,
Okay.
I said, yes. So, let's see. Other than that, the other event that's going on in Waveney is our Fall Festival. We're opening it up to 1,200 people this year. That's October 25th, and that's sold out. So, we put money in the budget and we received approval to hire, the geese control company to also do work at both Saks athletic fields and the high school athletic fields. And they started moving them right away. Unfortunately, we saw them the next day at Irwin Park, but but at least they're not in the athletic fields.
So they go from one park to the next.
Exactly.
Social.
So they're looking for food.
Right.
The Carriage Barn just had their arts festival last week, and they're kind of a victim of their own success.
Yeah, that was big. That was great.
It was very big. It went very well. We have some things that we need to tweak for next year for them and everything, but. And while I'm talking about the Carriage Barn, there's a plan to upgrade the existing patio. Part of that is due to ADA requirements, but it's also to improve it. So they'll be adding some landscape areas right on the patio itself and even across the parking lot with stairs, because most people come down those stairs. So they want to replace the fence between the Carriage Barn and the powerhouse. And the town has just ordered new light poles for the park, which will mimic the ones up in the center of town. When I say mimic them, they'll be the same pole. They won't have all the plant hangers and everything like that, but they'll be the same pole, so it'll be easier to replace them when there's problems, and that's some of the upgrades they want to do at the Carriage Barn. And other than that, we're doing good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it's a nice, personally, it's been nice that it's been dry. You know, it's been a little too dry, but,
So great, Paul.
yeah.
When I saw Kiwanis today, you drain the lake down somewhat?
No.
After you, so.
What you
that's
see is
actually-
we stopped filling it, we stopped the pump, and so water's evaporating, that's the, yeah. So.
Any questions for John? Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you for all the excellent work you guys are doing too. Really appreciate it. Regarding my report, I'll be very brief. First, our next meeting will be on Wednesday, November 13th. Okay. Secondly, as everybody is aware, at last month's meeting, we had the Parks and Rec policy. Okay. Based on some good comments and constructive suggestions from Betty Lebosnick as well, we need to add maybe a couple clauses there regarding the dog in Kiwanis. So we will put that on the next month's agenda for approval. We'll also want to try to run that by Deanna as well, just so she's not surprised or anything. But I don't think there's anything, you know, it's pretty self-explanatory, and Betty made some good comments at last month's meeting regarding this topic. So with that said,
Wait.
oh, there you are.
Oh, well, yeah, public comment. I hope you could hear me.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for mentioning that, George. I finally got a copy of the draft that you received last month, and I received it Monday. And I do want to add some other comments, if I may, to that proposal.
Can you send that in an email form to us?
When do you need it?
Well, we have to, it's not like we can just add, we have to kind of go through a process here. If you want to send it to my attention.
All right,
John's
but
attention.
do you have a town email? Because
I
I'm not
do.
supposed to use personal. So you
I
have
do
mine.
an email, But
Can you,
send it to John, and then so, because it's a part of a document. Also, by the way, just when I was like, can you send this to B and John? And then over form, absolutely print out, okay, so that would, we add it to the addendum. So, but yeah, if you want to send it to John, that would be
Okay.
great.
could I just briefly mention them?
Sure.
Item number 11 says these are activities that are not permitted, just to pedal back a bit. And under number 11, it says overnight camping or fires. And just be mindful that the Mary B Cabin and Girl Scouts, and it's not just New Canaan Girl Scouts, use that cabin from September through the spring. So it's all Fairfield County, and they do have camping there. And overnight is in the building mostly, but they are also outside. And I believe they have fire pits and they do have fires. So changing the wording of that is probably campfires with approval, or exempt out the Mary B from that item. And then I didn't know we had golf practice allowed in the parks, because it says golf practice is not allowed in unauthorized areas, meaning that we do have authorized areas.
Driving range.
Wait, yeah.
I'm sorry?
There's a driving range in Waymony.
Oh, okay. Thank you for that. And animals inside facilities, I'm gonna send it to you, the write-up of the definition of facility. So I will do, as you said, George. And finally, one thing I don't see in here, and I think it might be under your purview. I have noticed people in the past working and repairing their cars and trucks on the field in Kiwanis. And there used to be some sort of statement that you're not allowed to work on your vehicles in our parks. So I don't know if that's a police issue, is that bylaws, or is that parks because it's in the park? So that item is something that I would like discussed. I don't know if it makes sense for you, but I recall when I brought it up to Mary Ann Kleinsmith, somebody was just repairing and taking all the stuff out underneath their hood, and she said, you can't do this in a park.
I haven't seen, I've seen, the town trucks, a lot of them come in there, they use the men, there's a toilet there, and there's also the refuse. So
Yeah, no, these are private citizens coming in, and sometimes they're just working on their tires and they're working under the hood, and it's not that.
I've never seen this, Betty. I'm in the parks a lot.
Oh, I am. I look out my window when I see things going on.
I think that one thing we can tackle here, I think overnight camping without authorized permission, I think that's a fair point that we could add to the amendments here. I think that's a good call. And that's fine. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
In terms of the vehicles, that's a new one on me.
Oh, I've seen it happen several times. I mean, it's not often, it might be once every 2-3 years, but people just coming there and just working on their cars. Even polishing their
That's a town ordinance too. Also, you may have a situation like I got a flat tire myself at Irwin Park, walking the dog, and I had to call AAA, So people may have a legitimate issue too.
I don't know.
Yeah, so,
and maybe it's just a convenient place to get up and see whatever they're talking about.
right, exactly. Yeah.
Finally, John, has anything been done since the August 18th flooding and the shift in the sand? Is there a mountain of sand in the pond, and would that impact next season opening up the pond in Kiwanis?
We won't know exactly how much has been shifted inside the pond, but it won't affect us because we drain the pond down in the spring and pull the sand out, etc. We also received approval for 3 more truckloads of sand, additional truckloads that are being delivered.
Okay, thank you so much.
What we lost.
Thank you so much.
Okay. Betty, thanks so much.
Okay.
All right. Is there any further business to conduct? Right? Is there a motion to approve, motion to adjourn? Sorry. Motion. Second, Lindsay, all those in favor? Great job, everybody. Thank you.
Thanks.
Very much. That's good. I had not.
I didn't get that.